nameless place in a nameless year. A world without right angles or plane surfaces. This is its only geometric line, the horizon that closes it off from the rest of the world. Until at last, one southern summer's day, Europe and its hard, shining reason arrive. And the nameless year is 1788, and the nameless place begins to become Australia. This is where they came, the first 1,000 settlers, out of the east, out of the Pacific like the rising sun. This is where they landed. This is where geometry and steel and God and the rules of harmony came ashore. The European mind, in the person of 529 convicts, together with the troops to guard and flog them. Sydney Harbour. This is where our journey begins, where Australia began. And in the end, the sea took, and from the soil of Australia came forth straight lines and rational curves. Solids of the most intricate and sophisticated geometry. And there was one line drawn from here that in the end stretched right the way across Australia. From Sydney to Perth, the line goes, all the way across from the Pacific to the Indian Ocean on the other side, nearly 2,500 miles.
Are you absolutely sure you want to go?
You're not trying to put me off, are you, Ross?
No, but it's going to be very hot in places, you know. And you got your snake bite remedy, by the way?
You're not serious, they don't have snakes, though. It took 120 years to build on and off, and this is the train that runs it, the Indian Pacific.
Well, you're all ready, I hope. You've got everything. What are you going to read a lot, or?
I thought I'd look out the window.
Out the window, yes. I suppose
Will that keep me going?
Yes.
This is Ross Campbell seeing me off, a friend of mine. We're both retired columnists.
We have a lot of flies.
And
ticks, you know. We have a lot of ticks.
What do I do about the ticks?
Well, you want to put a little dab of vinegar onto the ticks. And
hold on.
snakes.
Booking car 4, are you, sir? Ted Frayn.
That's right.
Berth 15, car 4.
Great.
Just like to follow me?
Thank you very much indeed.
Okay.
Come and have a look through the window.
Okay, yes. Ah, hello there. Terrific.
My own room, or rather my own roomette.
Lovely.
Folding bed, folding wash basin, folding lavatory. All human life is here.
You're not supposed to use that in the station.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Indian Pacific will depart at 3:15. Would all persons who are not travelling kindly be prepared to leave the train? Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
I think this is double glazing, isn't it?
I can't hear you, Ross. It's double glazed.
What?
No, cool. It's air conditioned.
Oh, that's all right. It's been a pleasure.
"3 days. when you can fly it in 4 hours. We must all be mad. It's a dinosaur, this train. Stainless steel and air-conditioned it may be, but really it's a sport, a throwback to the days of the Orient Express and the great Cunadas. And it's not a nostalgic survival. It's a brand new train. It's only been running since 1970. At a time when the rest of the world was ripping up its railways, Australia was only just completing its first continuous transcontinental line. At some little cost. The last 7 years' work came to about £120 million. The first bit to be built in the 1850s went 10 miles up the harbour, and already it looked like a dinosaur to some. At the beginning of the 19th century, settlement clung to the narrow coastal plain. Australia stopped sharply 35 miles west of Sydney. This was what stopped it, the Blue Mountains. They're not very high, 1,000 meters or so, but for years this combination of thick bush and sheer rock face made them impenetrable. Escaped convicts disappeared up here in the belief that they were climbing through into China. These are the last hills we crossed for 2,500 miles. Stockbroker belt, I suppose, since the railway came through in the 1860s. But still densely forested with eucalyptus and dark ironbarks. Still alive with birds as brilliantly coloured as children's comics. The first of the immense barriers that the interior presents. Hard country for the railway engineer. We get down the sheer cliffs on the far side by way of a chain of tunnels blasted through the solid rock. But there was no money for that kind of tunnelling in the 1860s. So they brought the line down the cliff face in 3 tremendous swoops. The old trains would come down here, stop at the buffers, switch the points, and reverse out down the middle gradient. Railway enthusiasts have now restored the track on this bit, and they run their own train up and down it. A lot of them are professional railwaymen off diesels and electrics. A real busman's holiday. The Great Lithgow Zigzag, the earliest legend of Australian engineering. Zig in, zag back, and zig on again when the modern line still runs.